All right, so I kind of want to know, Kegan, are you the best welder out there?
Absolutely not. I am far from it.
Really?
There's been a couple times that I thought I was pretty good on the job, and then I had that shut down pretty quick.
Okay, so ever worked with anyone who thought they were the best welder, and how did you take it, and how were they to work with?
So in the welding industry, you'll have those guys on jobs that are just real cocky, think they're the best, have a really big head, and that always doesn't go well for them. It's really annoying for everybody else because you've got this guy, he's always talking smack and thinking he's better than everybody, and you know, it doesn't go well because the company doesn't like that either. And as soon as that person makes a mistake, everybody's on top of them.
Right.
So, you know, if you start, putting a bullseye on your head, you're gonna eventually get hit every once in a while with a lot of just slack and stuff.
So I've had some students at KWI before who maybe they've had prior welding training, and maybe it comes natural, maybe they're really, really good, and they progress, and boom, 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 they're doing really good, and all of a sudden, a weld will bust, or a bend will have, a slag inclusion or something in it that causes it to be a bust or a failure, but it's not their fault. Someone stepped on the gas hose, or something happened. They got a dirty piece of filler metal, or someone dropped some metal and scared them. If you bust a weld, do you think people should own that weld?
Yeah, 100%. As soon as you make a mistake, own it in the industry, because you're going to get a lot of respect out of that. Because everybody makes mistakes, and you got to learn. You have to go through that to learn how to weld and weld proficiently, and learn how to learn how to fix your mistakes. So as soon as you bust or something, just let everybody know, and don't be the guy that, like you said, blames all these other reasons. Blames all these other people or the wind or anything else, because the company and the other employees will like you a lot better if you just don't do that. Because then you'll always be the blame guy.
Yeah, and if there was a problem, so if it legitimately was, you ran out of gas, or maybe someone adjusted your machine accidentally at the six-pack. Sometimes those things happen, but you still shouldn't really force it down to them and blame the other person.
Right, because going back to what we said, everybody's human, mistakes happen, and it's a welding job, it's a turnaround. A lot of people are moving fast and working fast just to get the things done before the project, the final day. So it's gonna happen. And so you just gotta go with the flow, roll with the punches, and own your mistakes.
So probably the question everybody out there is wanting to know, has Kegan Dales ever busted a weld?
I have busted several welds, so I'll go through them with you all. The first weld I ever busted was my first job out of school, and I busted it twice.
What now? How in the heck did they even keep you on the job? That's crazy.
It goes back to what we was talking earlier. Don't be the cocky welder. Don't be the guy with the big head. Just be humble, work hard, and be a personable person. Right. Because I busted these welds, and so I busted it the first time. I was like, hey, you need to fix it. So I fixed it. I thought I fixed it. It busted again. It's like, hey, dude, you really need to fix this. Like, I don't know, we're gonna have to cut it out if you don't. And I was like, all right. So I fixed it again, and it passed.
Okay.
So they were cool with that because they understood that I was a little bit younger. It was a hard material, copper nickel.
And what was wrong with that particular weld? Do you recall? Was like tungsten inclusion, or what was going on?
So at the time, I didn't have a single clue what was wrong with it because I was fresh out of school. Like, it was just weird because I was on an oil rig, the atmosphere is different, and looking back, I didn't have a purge, a very good purge. Okay. So whenever I looked in to fix it, it was all gray, but I really didn't have much experience with a lot of copper nickel. I passed the test, but I didn't have a lot of real world experience. So I looked in, I cut into it, looked in, and I was like, well, the walls are burnt. Come to find out, years later, just thinking about it, when you don't have good purge or argon, you cannot break the walls down very well. So it left a lot of just straight edges and suck back, you know what I mean? Okay. So that's what it was. And then the second weld I busted, I think, was a year later in St. Croix. I busted a weld in a fab shop, like it's a tent, just out in the yard. Okay. And then the next weld was a couple months later in St. Croix, and I busted the weld, I fixed it, and then it went to night shift, and it busted again, and day shift had to fix it.
Oh no.
So them day shift welders didn't like me after that. But because I was a personable person, and I worked hard, and I was a good employee, they kept me on the job. Now, in between these busts, there's lots of welds, a lot of welds made, so you know what I mean, it's gonna happen. And then I think the weld after that busted was because of some water that got in the bottom of it, and it sucked it into the weld. So we had to fix that, and it shot good after that. And I think that was like maybe a year or two ago. So
It's been good ever since.
been good ever since, you know. Knock on wood, but going back to something, you know, we talked about earlier, being humble. It's not a bad thing to bust a weld, you know, and just if you bust a weld, it kind of puts you back in your place and keeps you in reality.
Yeah, you got to learn from that, you know. So if anyone watching is in high school and the teacher said, "Well, do it again. It's not good enough." You know, the word pretty and the word ugly, those aren't in the code book. You're always looking to get the best weld you can do, and welding's repetition. You got to keep doing that over and over, and more than likely, if you've been out on that job, you're gonna have a bad shot once in a while.
Right.
But you work through it, and you live through that.
Yep, and you just learn from your mistakes, and also, you know, if you're a good employee and a personable person, the other welders or people that know how to weld really good are going to help you out with that, you know. But if you've been that guy the whole job, that young welder who thinks he's all this and that, nobody's going to help you fix that weld. They're just going to laugh at you and walk away.
That's right. So if you like what you're seeing, if you're a student who's interested in coming to KWI and you want to work through some of your mistakes, have chances to try that weld test again and end up as an AWS certified welder, and check out Kentucky Welding Institute. Watch our YouTube channel. We got lots of videos out there with helpful tips and hints for you. And check us out, kwi.us.